Hi, this is your host Sapin Bhartia and welcome to our popular video production series. And today we have with us Benjamin Kabe, developer advocate at Zephyr project. Benjamin, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Before I ask you to grab your crystal ball and share your predictions, quickly remind our viewers, what is Zephyr project all about?
So Zephyr is a real-time operating system. It's basically an open source solution for embedded developers to use when they want to build some kind of connected product, like think wearables or like home automation equipment, or it could be also industrial equipment, all those places where you have some kind of microcontroller that you need to turn into a smart brain for your solution. You need tons of like software infrastructure for that, and Zephyr does just that, and it runs on top of microcontrollers from ARM, from Intel. It could be the very popular Espressif microcontrollers. Yeah, that's basically what Zephyr is, and it's been around for several years already. It's started in 2016, I believe.
Now it's time for you to grab your crystal ball and share your predictions with us.
If we look at the IoT ecosystem, I guess, and the embedded software development world, one thing that we are seeing more and more, and that I think will become more of a reality in the next few months, is really security. And like there's this joke where the S in IoT is for security, right? Well, there's no S in IoT. But yes, I mean security. Many people talk about security. It's hard to get it right. Especially when you build some kind of IoT solution, you will be sourcing components from all over the place. Like software-wise, you will likely be using open source bits. Could be Zephyr, could be something else. Actually, that doesn't really matter. You will be using lots of like drivers and stuff that you get from your silicon vendor. What happens when you ship your devices in thousands of households or like in remote locations? And all of a sudden, there's a software vulnerability in one of the components that you use. Well, you don't even know whether you actually use the component. Like, you're not sure. Like, how do you sort of have the traceability in terms of making sure that you knowing in the first place whether you're impacted or not by a software vulnerability, let alone actually address it. So, one of my predictions basically is that we will see more and more folks in the industry, including within the Zephyr project, adopts some of the standards that are out there for managing the software bill of materials, for the standards like SPDX and the SPDX 3 version, to basically make it easier for developers and downstream adopters of solutions like Zephyr to keep their solution secure and under control, like to really have a sort of a manifest of what it is from a hardware and software point of view that they are putting in the hands of customers. And something else, and that's not new, but we certainly see more and more of that, like in recent years with technologies like TensorFlow Lite for microcontrollers and things like that, like TinyML and AI at the edge. It's really becoming a reality, right? Like it's this ability to take the kind of things that you would maybe intuitively think is only possible to do in large data centers, things like ChatGPT, right? And having like really powerful AI models. But it turns out you can have reasonably powerful AI models that run on really, really small microcontrollers and do things like, you want to do industrial, you're monitoring industrial equipment, you want to do predictive maintenance. Well, you can have AI predict when your machine is going to fail because it's looking at the vibration of your conveyor belt or whatever and detects that it's going funny, right? And it might require maintenance. So we see a lot of that happening, and luckily there's tons of, most of the solutions out there to make AI at the edge a reality are actually open source, right? You can have Zephyr to help on the real-time operating system sides of things, but then things like TensorFlow Lite, like I mentioned, like those open source building blocks are something that I really would expect more and more people to use, even in areas where people would have historically not think about ML at all. Like, but even if you have like a super dumb temperature sensor, there's a lot that you can do by just trying to hook up some models to do, again, prediction, anomaly detection, things like that.
Thanks for sharing these predictions with us. Now, if you look at either these two areas or the wider ecosystem, we can look at last year. What are some of the existing challenges that you see are still going to be there for the ecosystem, or you see because of these new use cases, new challenges which emerge that you feel that the Zephyr community, the larger ecosystem, will have to address?
I mean, for a community, an open source community like Zephyr, a challenge, but it's actually a really interesting challenge, and I would like to think we've been doing pretty well so far. Is like we have this really incredibly active community where it's really a mix of like individuals that are really passionate about the technology, similar to the Linux ecosystem, if you will, or I mean, it's the same in several other really large communities. Lots of passionate individuals and lots of large companies who actually bet their entire business on top of the open source solution, right? And like all the strategic members and like all the members of the Zephyr communities, the likes of Google who put Zephyr in Chromebooks, or the likes of all the silicon vendors basically who base their software development kits on Zephyr. Like we need to keep like innovating, and that can be a challenge because we have like a lot of manpower and lots of people putting effort in the code, but then we need to ship good quality code, and it's open source, but it doesn't mean that it's completely random. So we have all the governance and all the infrastructure to try and make that happen. And one particular challenge for this year, and we're doing this every couple of years, basically, again, just like the Linux community or other open source projects out there. One thing that will be coming out in June, at least that's the plan for now, is our next long-term support version. And so that's back to the security topic. Generally speaking, Zephyr would be releasing major versions every 4 months. But that might be that's actually pretty fast, like in terms of velocity. There's tons of new features that get in. For someone building a product that's going to be like maintained for the next 10 years, maybe they'd rather base their solution off something that's slightly more like stable, and that's for which the community at large commits to maintaining it for longer. And that's basically what the LTS is all about. So in June, at the time we are recording this, the one after next version of Zephyr, version 3.7, will likely be the one that will be labeling as LTS, and that we will be encouraging everyone to use, basically, if they're looking into something that's going to be maintained for longer, and for which every security vulnerability that we may find 18 months or 2 years down the road, we will be committing to backporting those fixes so that people always get a version that's free of any vulnerability. So I think that's one big, certainly one big topic for us this year.
Now, looking at these challenges, what do you think is going to be the focus of the project and the community this year?
Releasing a major version every 4 months. So there's that, like making sure that we keep delivering on time every 4 months. That's actually quite valuable to downstream users to know that when they start embracing something like Zephyr, they know that like we keep releasing at a well-known date, and they can they don't have to wait for an unknown amount of time for the releases to come out. So like we're seeing a lot happening in terms of making the solution more modular, making it possible for people to like have their Zephyr-based solutions evolve at runtime, where historically it would have been more of a monolithic solution. And one thing that we're actually doing a lot more these days is, now that hopefully COVID is behind us, we are doing a lot more events where we're trying to gather the community in person. And that's maybe one call to action or an invitation for everyone watching. Like we have many conferences coming up. Like we will be like many others, I guess, at Embedded World, but we have our a conference of our own as well, the Zephyr Developer Summit in April. We do online webinars, etc. We try to organize local meetups, trying to back to the point of this crazy active community of individuals as well as industrial adopters, trying to make sure that everyone gets to talk to one another and innovate together. So yeah, there's that's certainly on our plate for this year.
Benjamin, thank you so much for taking time out today and share these predictions with us. And I would love to talk to you again. Thank you.
Yeah, we should do that. Thank you.